Cold and overcast, and whatever wind we've seen so far has been blowing in. We're set for the Hyundai leadoff man on WGN Sports. Today, the Cubs shoot for a sweep over the Arizona Diamondbacks in a 4-2 season opening homestand. Hi again, everyone. I'm Len Casper. Welcome to the leadoff man. Hope your Wednesday is going well. After this one, the Cubs are off tomorrow, and then they open up a 3-city, 9-game trip in Milwaukee, Houston, and Colorado. Unfortunately, bad injury news, but more on that later. Let's talk about the good stuff from yesterday as the Cubs won their second in a row, game 2 of this series. Tyler Colvin playing first base for the first time in his major league career, and it helped his offense. 2-run homer made it 4-1 Cubs. Andrew Kashner in his first major league start was excellent. Not a great finish injury-wise, but 5 1/3, just 2 hits and 1 run. But on this pitch, he just felt something in his right shoulder, and ultimately he will end up on the disabled list. As Mark O'Neill came out, the Cubs didn't want to take any chances. They did an MRI, and he has a mild strain in the back of his rotator cuff. And again, we'll get the injury update coming up in a few minutes. The bullpen, it was up to them at this point, and with a 4-1 lead in the 7th inning, Gerardo Parra with a single to right, making it 4-2. And then off the left-hander, James Russell, Willie Bloomquist with a 2-run single. That tied the game at 4-4, but the Cubs would come right back in the bottom of the 7th. Marlon Byrd with a double to left. Jeff Baker coming around to score. That's 5-4 Cubs. And then with the bases loaded against a lefty, Tyler Colvin walking, forcing in Starlin Castro. 6-4 Cubs. They would need that extra run. Sean Marshall trying to close them out. What a play here by Starlin Castro to get Xavier Nady on a bang-bang play at first. A run scored on the play, making it 6-5 Cubs. But that was the big second out of the inning. And then Marshall would strike out right-handed hitting Willie Bloomquist to end the game for Marshall. His 3rd career save. For James Russell, his 2nd career win. We'll hear from Mike Quade on the injuries coming up, but as we go to break, our Chicago and Northwest Hyundai dealers Spotlight reminds you to check out the award-winning Hyundai Sonata and the all-new Hyundai Elantra at myhyundai.com. With the Bulls back in the 90s. Now the fine WGN TV analyst. Along with Neil Funk, he will handle the first pitch in the 7th inning stretch today. Well, bad news. 40% of the Cubs rotation going to end up on the disabled list. Randy Wells and Andrew Cashner both pitched well, but Wells has a slight strain in his right forearm. The elbow not involved. That's the good news, but he will not throw for 10 to 14 days. For Andrew Cashner, we mentioned the mild strain in the back of his right rotator cuff, will not throw for a couple of weeks. So you have to think both guys will be out 3 to 4 weeks. We'll get more of a definitive update from Cubs general manager Jim Hendry during the game. Let's hear from the skipper, Mike Quade.
Yeah, it's all right. It's, you know, I mean, I feel bad for the two guys involved. I feel bad for Pena as well, but he'll obviously be back very soon. But it's part of the deal, and you know, we're counting on those guys absolutely. Well, now I'm counting on them to rehab like a son of a gun and get back as quick as they can, but get back quickly and healthy. And they'll be okay. It doesn't sound serious to me. I'm not a doctor, but you move on, and that's kind of the way, you know, you count on them to do their work and get back when they can, and you deal with the guys that are healthy and guys that can help us win for the next couple of weeks. In this day and age where you hear about people that get shut down for a year, I mean, this could be a lot worse, and this will be fine. And I'm expecting 3-4 weeks, and we're back in action, and that's a lot better than 3 or 4 months. But it does no good. I mean, nobody's feeling sorry for us, and I'm certainly not. And people will pick up the slack, and we'll go play, and someone like Casey becomes huge, and someone else will fill that other role. So it's just part of the deal. It's a long season, and those guys, these two guys will be back to help us too, and that I believe as well.
Q mentioned Carlos Pena still day-to-day with the thumb, hopefully back in the lineup on Friday. Time now for Bob's AutoZone tip of the day. Today, sweep the Snakes as the Cubs try to win 3 in a row. The tip of the day brought to you by AutoZone. For the auto parts, accessories, and advice you need, get in the zone. AutoZone. I guess once you get into the middle of the season, it doesn't matter that much, but it is a number 5 versus a number 1 today. As Armando Galarraga makes his season debut, Ryan Dempster tries to get his first win after an opening day loss to the Pirates. We'll have Cubs baseball from Wrigley Field coming up next. We are live from the corner of Clark and Addison here on the north side of Chicago for Cubs baseball on WGN Sports. The Cubs wrap up their first homestand of the year. They seek a sweep over the Arizona Diamondbacks and a 4-2 start to the year. We welcome Cub fans from all over the country watching on WGN America, America's home for baseball. Hi again, everyone. Along with Bob Brindley, I'm Len Casper. A little early season adversity as the Cubs will put Andrew Kashner and Randy Wells on the DL. So the offense now may be more important in this equation. Bob Starlin Castro and Tyler Colvin were very important yesterday.
You know, Len, you think back to spring training and we were talking about a possible sophomore slump. Now, it's still very early in the season, granted, but it doesn't look like either one of these guys is going to suffer any kind of a sophomore slump. Specifically, Starlin Castro off to a red-hot start at the plate. He's made some Gold Glove caliber defensive plays as well.
And Tyler Colvin, his second straight day at first base, and the Cubs have really hammered the Diamondbacks lately. They've won 8 in a row.
Well, we talked about it before the season even began. With the Diamondbacks on the schedule early, you hope to really make some hay right now before anybody gets going, and so far the Cubs have had their way with the D-backs.
We're just a few minutes away from the first pitch. Let's send it down to the field, the St. Ignatius Choir with our national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Kindly remove your caps and join the St. Ignatius Brass Ensemble as they honor America with our national anthem.
The Cubs go for their third consecutive win, and Arizona trying to snap a 3-game skid. We'll have the finale of this series next. Pepsi Max, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. Ford, the newest vehicles on the road are now at your local Ford store, like the all-new Ford Explorer, SUV, 100% reinvented. Visit localfordstores.com. Ford, drive one. And by Mega Millions, and now Powerball from the Illinois Lottery. Chicago Cubs baseball in beautiful high definition is brought to you by Xfinity, only from Comcast. Overcast skies, the lights have just been turned on. Pretty calm day wind-wise as the Cubs get set for Game 6 of the regular season, their final home game in a couple of weeks. They'll hit the road for 9 straight starting Friday night in Milwaukee. We want to let our AT&T U-verse viewers in Chicago and around the country on WGN America know that during every Cubs home game this season, if you go to channel 780 or high definition channel 1780, you can see a special multi-view presentation that shows you all of our different live camera angles here at Wrigley Field. Pretty cool. So if you want to direct the game along with Skip Ellison, give a look to AT&T U-verse channel 780 or HD channel 1780. Matt Garza's ready to go. He'll cheer on his teammates today as they go to battle behind Ryan Dempster. Now the Diamondbacks lineup written out by Kirk Gibson. Willie Bloomquist has done a nice job filling in for Stephen Drew. He leads the majors with 4 stolen bases. Chris Young is in center. Kelly Johnson will hit third. Justin Upton's had a quiet series. Miguel Montero's the catcher. It's Melvin Mora making his first start of the series. Juan Miranda's at first. Gerardo Parra in left, and Armando Galarraga on the mound.
Let's check out how the Cubs take the field defensively today behind Ryan Dempster. Brought to you by Pepsi Max, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. Soriano, Bird, and Fukudome across the outfield this afternoon. Ramirez and Castro on the left side. Blake DeWitt getting a start at second base. Tyler Colvin's first Major League start at first base yesterday was a huge success, including a big 3-6-1 double play that he started in that ball game. Giovanni Soto will be behind the plate today for right-hander Ryan Dempster. You know, you look at Ryan Dempster's numbers on Friday in his opening day loss to the Pirates, and you'd say he didn't have a very good game, and I think he would agree with the base on balls 4. But really, he made 2 extremely bad pitches at the wrong time. A grand slam home run and a 2-run homer, but he did give Mike Quaddy 6 2/3, and hoping for better results today.
Eric Cooper gets a plate today in his 13th year. Mark Carlson, Tim Timmons, and Jeff Kellogg, the crew chief, are on the bases. So Dempster against Bloomquist as we get it going. We are underway. A fastball taken high for ball 1. There's a strike. And it's 1-1. Bloomquist led off the game Monday with a home run. Yesterday tied it with a 2-run single late, but then struck out to end the game. He's going to bounce out to Dempster to start it. Weather's been pretty consistent. Temperature started with a 4 for a while, 48 degrees. A northeast wind, that's the change, but only at 5 miles an hour.
Yeah, really shouldn't affect balls hit into the outfield, at least not at the beginning of the game. Flags barely moving out in center field. Is it possible to have different wind conditions for all 81 home games?
I suppose technically yes. Chris Young hits the first pitch on a bounce to Aramis Ramirez.
We had the wind blowing out opening day against the Pirates. It blew left to right. It blew right to left. First game of the series against the Diamondbacks. It changed several times throughout the course of the ball game, and today what little bit of wind there is appears to be blowing straight in.
Kelly Johnson hit second in the first 2 games. He's batting third today. Strike 1. Oh for 7 lifetime against Dempster. Foul tip, strike 2. Ryan has struggled against the Diamondbacks, although their roster's changed over the years. He's 2-6 with an ERA just over 6, but he did beat them last year at Chase Field on July 7th. Kirk Gibson likes the fact that his team has battled. Yesterday they came back from a 4-1 deficit and then almost came back to tie it again in the 9th, but I think he was too pleased that they came up short.
A lot of fastballs early from Ryan Dempster, especially that high 4-seamer. We've seen this Diamondbacks offense be very aggressive, swinging at a lot of early count pitches in the first 2 games of this series. Dempster gets Kelly Johnson an 0-2 hole, tries to go up the ladder with a couple of heaters. Johnson able to foul him off.
Justin Upton is on deck. And another 0-2. That's low. Yeah, the quote in the Arizona Republic today from Kirk Gibson: "It was great to see us fight back, but we're here to fight back and win. No consolation."
Now there's no column in the standings for moral victories.
Foul tip, strike 3. So Dempster goes 1-2-3, and the Cubs are coming up against the right-hander Armando Galarraga. Lineup for today's game brought to you by Pepsi Max, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball. 0 calories maximum. Pepsi taste. Fukudome, Castro, and Bird at the top. Ramirez, Colvin again at first. Soriano in left. Giovanni Soto back in there. It was Coy Hill yesterday. Blake DeWitt gets his first start of the season, and Ryan Dempster, the pitcher, hits 9th.
Quick look at the Diamondbacks defensively today. Same outfield as the first 2 games of the series. Parra, Young, and Upton left to right. Melvin Mora getting the start at third base. Willie Bloomquist was signed by the Diamondbacks to be a super utility player and a good bat off the bench. He may steal somebody's job the way he's played in the early going this season. Johnson and Miranda on the right side of the infield. Miguel Montero once again doing the catching for right-hander Armando Galarraga.
6'4", 233, 29 years old. Acquired from Detroit in January, and it was his near miss that made him famous. He almost and should have had a perfect game last year with Detroit. Blown call at first base. by respected veteran umpire Jim Joyce, cost Galarraga a piece of history. As Kosuke sends one out into right center, diving catch, Chris Young, what a catch. We get a great angle on that particular area from our perch high above Wrigley Field, and I just did not think Chris Young was going to get it.
I was thinking triple. You knew Young was going to give it a diving attempt. I didn't think he would be able to catch up to it, but man, speed makes up for an awful lot out there in the outfield. Yeah, that ball gets by him. It's a sure double, possibly a triple. You could see Justin Upton, the right fielder, backing the play up, but no need, as Young made a really nice catch.
Brings up Castro. He hits one hard. And Young had to leave his feet again. That ball was dipping and diving and slicing. So Chris Young has had a Gold Glove first inning.
Let's try somebody else. Great catch on the Fukudome drive. This ball, look at that thing slice as it gets out there into straightaway center. Young initially just held his ground. He thought the ball was going to come directly to him and had to make a quick adjustment at the very end to make the play.
Marlon Byrd, game-winning RBI double yesterday in the 7th. One of his 3 hits.
You see Galarraga pitching from that very low 3/4 arm angle. He'll feature a fastball, a slider, an occasional straight changeup. Fastball usually sits in the upper 80s to low 90s.
One and two. Starlin Castro lining out now has swung 35 times on the season. He has not missed a pitch. He hasn't whiffed one time. Keep an eye on that. It's not easy to do.
No, it
isn't. A whole homestand and you don't wave at a slider or anything. I don't think he'll go all season with that intact, but still impressive nonetheless. Byrd missed that one, and Galarraga gets some defensive help from his center fielder. No score. No.
Cubs fans, if you want to manage a game along with Mike Quaddy, log on to WGNTV.com right now and click on the WGN Sports Game Zone banner to connect all the up-to-the-minute stats and information while you're watching at home. Game Zone is sponsored by The Great Escape. Pools, patio sets, play sets, hot tubs, and more.
Cubs have done a nice job against Justin Upton so far in the first 2 games of this series. And they're going to get him again. Upton now 1 for 9. We'll bring up Miguel Montero, the catcher. Big news today, the injuries to Randy Wells and Andrew Cashner, and we'll discuss it shortly with Cubs GM Jim Hendry. Everyone was expecting an update on Cashner, who came out early yesterday, but nobody knew about Randy Wells, who looked pretty good on Monday. He walked a few guys, but got the win.
Well, and the walks were a direct byproduct of the fact that Randy was trying to keep the ball down in the zone and make sure if he missed further down, which is exactly what he needs to do to be effective.
Fortunately, that's a shot we'll be seeing a lot of over the next several weeks. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Well, if there is a silver lining to the injuries, Len, it's the fact that they come so early in the season that both of those guys should be able to fully recover and come back and be contributing members to that rotation in a very short amount of time. As Montero chases an off-speed pitch, good movement down and away.
Well, just about every other team in the division suffered numerous injuries in spring training. The Cubs began the year with nobody on the DL. But they get socked twice today. Veteran Melvin Mora playing third base. Castro on the dive, just can't get it. That's a base hit. Morris 2 for 2 in the series. Keeps it alive for the first baseman, Juan Miranda.
Now, Melvin Mora had a tough spring. We talked about it yesterday. Had some injury issues, was involved in an automobile accident down in Phoenix, and really a little bit behind the game right now, but you'd never know it by that last swing.
Yeah, he had a sore neck. Was headed to the Diamondbacks camp in Scottsdale. He said he was going 60. He felt like the car that rear-ended him was going 100. It's one thing to be sitting at a stoplight and have somebody ram into you, but not when you're going the speed limit on the highway.
Well, if you've ever driven in Phoenix, Arizona, especially in spring training time, you'll know that you'll see the occasional triple-digit speeder, and unfortunately for Melvin Mora, it happened to be right behind him.
Popped up by Miranda. Tyler Colvin is calling for it. Blake DeWitt, however, is going to take it. And that'll end the inning. They get a 2-out single, no runs after an inning and a half. We're scoreless. Bottom of the second inning. Ramos Ramirez against right-hander Armando Galarraga. First pitch swinging, and Ramos not too pleased with the result, which is a pop out to the second baseman Johnson.
Hey fans, tickets are still available for many of the great matchups for the 2011 season. To purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com, call 1-800-THE-CUBS, or visit the Wrigley Field box office. Well, we know Ramos Ramirez has always been a very aggressive hitter. Elevated fastball just above the belt, not a bad pitch to swing at. Ramos just a little bit behind that one and popped it up into shallow center.
There's Tyler Colvin, who homered yesterday, his first of the year. Carlos Pena still day-to-day, feeling better today, has a mild sprain of his right thumb. But with the off day tomorrow, I think the goal is to have him as close to 100% as possible by game 1 in Milwaukee.
And you know, Len, that's one reason why yesterday's win was so big. With Tyler Colvin subbing for Pena at first base, doing a great job not only with the bat but defensively down there at first. The off day tomorrow, it gave Mike Quade the easy opportunity to sit Carlos Pena one more day and hope he's back as near 100% as possible on Friday.
Yank foul. Well, you talked about him maybe stepping in the bucket. Before he hit a home run, he didn't pull it right down the line, but he got a hold of it.
Yeah, Barry Enright yesterday was pounding the Cubs lefties inside all day long, and Tyler Colvin cranked a home run to right center field, looking from the middle of the plate in, and got every bit of it.
You still get full credit, though. I know you had a good feeling about that at bat.
Also had another call in the game that I wasn't so proud of when Willie Bloomquist was at the plate, and I said, this guy scares me, and he ended up grounding a ball up the middle, driving a couple of runs. I think
cursed to be that smart sometimes.
I think you're going to win the lottery, Len.
If you'd like to send us an email, it's lenandbob@tribune.com. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. Jeff Baker follows us on Twitter? I'll ask him. I'll make him. Alfonso Soriano swings and misses at a slider. Galarraga facing the Cubs for the second time. The first time was in Detroit. A 6-5 Tiger win back in June of '09. Beat out former Cub Aaron Heilman for the 5th spot in their starting rotation coming out of spring training. There was some thought that maybe Ian Kennedy would come back on normal rest and pitch today, but Kurt Gibson wanted to get Galarraga his first start today and not wait.
Well, what does this tell you, Len? Armando Galarraga was 0-3 with an ERA of nearly 7.5 in spring training and won the job.
Well, apparently he showed them something beyond the numbers. As Soriano turns on one, that's got home run distance, but it's going to be foul. That one got onto Waveland with about 25-30 feet foul.
You saw the location of the first 4 pitches. The 5th one hung right there on the inside corner for Fonzie. Unfortunately, just couldn't stay back enough.
Past the pitcher, but not by Bloomquist, who slings across, and that's it. 6 up, 6 down for Galarraga to start it. 0-0 after 2.
By Mega Millions and now Powerball from the Illinois Lottery. Friday's Mega Millions jackpot is $44 million, and tonight's Powerball jackpot that Len's going to win, $218 million.
I'll gladly split it with somebody. Gerardo Parra batting 8th, swings and fouls back. One hit combined, that was Melvin Mora with 2 outs in the second. Other matinee action around baseball, we will keep you posted as always. Rubber game today in St. Louis. The Pirates leading the Cardinals 1-0 in the 4th. Pirates will open up PNC Park for this season tomorrow as they'll host the Rockies. Dempster's 1-1 offering. Now 1-2. Talked about the oblique being this year's injury around baseball. How about the appendectomy?
Yeah.
Had a couple of those. Adam Dunn, the latest. Bloop hit for Parra. Big turn. He's going to try to get the second. They should get him. And they do by a mile. That was a huge risk by Parra. Well, the Diamondbacks have been extremely aggressive on the bases, and it hurt them in that case.
Well, there's a difference between being intelligently aggressive and just running stupid, and that's what Parra does right here. I mean, the play is right in front of him. Blake DeWitt couldn't believe his good fortune when he looked up and saw Parra trying to advance to second base, and they throw him out by a mile. Big out. You're out. Trick slide notwithstanding, you're out.
1-1 to the pitcher, Galarraga. Not much previous experience at the plate. 6 strikeouts, 3 walks. Foul tip, 1-2. Yeah, Adam Dunn, I guess, had the laparoscopic appendectomy, which is much less invasive than the old cut and give you stitches, which takes several weeks. They think he's going to be back fairly shortly. Called strike 3. Galarraga's out.
Nothing too tricky about that at bat. All fastballs from Ryan Dempster. The last one a 4-seamer right on the outside corner for a called strike 3.
Bloomquist grounded out to the pitcher to start the game. He grounds back to the pitcher, but through this time. Hit it a lot harder.
And you definitely have to keep an eye on Willie Bloomquist over there at first base. We've talked throughout this series about how aggressive Kirk Gibson is when he gets runners on base. They've stolen 7 through their first 4 games this season. Bloomquist has 4 himself.
He leads the major leagues in steals. The Cubs, by the way, are the only team in baseball without a stolen base. Throw to first, Bloomquist back. The Diamondbacks are hoping Stephen Drew is back in their starting lineup on Friday, as they'll have their home opener against Cincinnati, but might be tough for Kirk Gibson to sit Bloomquist. The good thing for Willie is he can play anywhere, and he takes off. He's going to get in. Stolen base number 5 for Bloomquist.
We talked about Bloomquist throughout the first 2 games of this series. As you get another look at that play, the ball actually hit Bloomquist in the back of the left shoulder as he went sliding into the bag. He just brings so much to the table. He, in my eyes, is a perfect National League player. He runs well. As you said, he can play multiple defensive positions and play them well. He's shown in the past that even when he doesn't get regular playing time, he can be a productive member of the team coming off the bench.
Well, the Reds have left-hander Travis Wood going for them Friday, so Gibby could get him into the lineup, maybe in left for Parra. Could play second base for Johnson. He might continue to ride that hot hand, even with Stephen Drew back in the lineup. Out into center. Here comes Marlon Byrd. He's going to lay out, and it gets by him. And the Diamondbacks get the lead. Chris Young motoring around toward third. A bobble by Soriano. Young's going to try to score, and he will. Marlon Byrd took a chance, could not make the diving catch, and then Soriano bobbled, and at that point Chris Young came all the way around. It'll be a triple and an error on Soriano, and it's 2-0 Diamondbacks.
We talked about that wind blowing in ever so slightly. It may have helped knock that ball down. A great effort by Marlon Byrd. Soriano gets over there from his left field position and just fans on the ball the first time. You see Glenn Sherlock, the third base coach for the Diamondbacks, waving Chris Young all the way, and he'll score standing.
Now Chris Young has done it all on both ends. 2 excellent grabs defensively and an RBI triple and a run. He might need a moment. That's a long run all the way around the bases. Kelly Johnson strikes out for the second time, but the Diamondbacks get 2 and have the early advantage. Couple of defensive gems, a run scoring triple, and he scored on the same play. One of those runs unearned because of the error by Soriano. And Galarraga facing Giovanni Soto, ball 1. Gio had the day off yesterday, back in there today. A fly ball to deep right. Upton has it. Wrigleyville Rooftops has premier seating for up to 200 guests for corporate gatherings, family reunions, and bachelor or bachelorette parties. Individual and group tickets are available for all games. For more details, go to WrigleyvilleRooftops.com or call 773-248-ROOF. Fastball strike on Blake DeWitt. Got an email from Cub fan Ruben Rodriguez wondering if MLB would ever and should ever overturn the call made by Jim Joyce. And that was one of the topics of discussion right after the near perfect game. And I won't speak for you, but I don't, that's not a reversible call. And if replay doesn't cover a close play at first base, then I don't know how you go back and overturn it. And I've said many times, I think the way both guys handled it, Galarraga immediately took Joyce off the hook, and how apologetic and classy Jim Joyce was in the aftermath, I think it became more memorable and was really about sportsmanship and not worrying about those things that you can't control. Yeah, it's too bad he didn't get it. I mean, I think everybody wanted to see him get it.
Well, to answer Ruben's question, no, I don't think Major League Baseball at this point or for the foreseeable future will overturn it. But I do think as video replay becomes a bigger and bigger and bigger part of the game, there may be a point in the future where you will see plays like that corrected immediately at the moment it happens.
No umpire wants to get any call wrong, especially that one. DeWitt walks. The other way I look at it, Bob, it was not an official perfect game, but Galarraga knows that he retired 27 in a row. It's kind of like we know Ron Santo's a Hall of Famer, even though he's not in the Hall of Fame. Galarraga was perfect that day. He was.
He was. There's no question about it. Unfortunately, because of the blown call, that moment was taken away from him.
Very true.
The ability to go out there on the field and celebrate with your teammates and be recognized worldwide for doing something that happens very rarely in this game.
Miranda will toss to Johnson. That's a sacrifice for Ryan Dempster. Cub fans, come to Wrigley Field for a special night when the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation honors the Ricketts family on Thursday, May 19th. The special dinner at the friendly confines includes the chance to tour the park, play catch in the outfield, and hit in the batting cages. For more information, go to jdrfillinois.org for details. So DeWitt in scoring position for Fukudome. It was robbed of a hit by Chris Young in the first inning. Wide for ball one. One last note on the near perfect game. Galarraga has collaborated on a book with Jim Joyce, and the title is Nobody's Perfect, and it's supposed to hit bookstores this June. Now, as an avid reader, I think it's great, and I look forward to possibly reading the book, but it does raise some interesting questions because Jim Joyce still umpires and Armando Galarraga still pitches. I don't know the answer, but would Jim Joyce be allowed to, for instance, work the plate in a game pitched by Galarraga? Not questioning anyone's integrity, but for instance, Jim Wolf can't work his brother Randy's games, and when you have any sort of personal connection between an umpire and a player, that does raise ethical concerns. So we'll see.
Well, it'd be interesting to read the book, though, to see
Absolutely.
both men's slant. I mean, obviously, all we saw was what was made available for public consumption and what we saw with our own eyes that day and listened to the next day. But it'd be interesting to see what was going through each of their minds at that instant.
2-2 on Fukudome. Well, he won't be perfect today. He has not, however, given up a hit to this point as we play with 2 outs in the third. Only base runner for the Cubs, the walk to Blake DeWitt, and he's currently at second base. Here comes a 2-2 pitch in the dirt. It's full, 3-2.
In a related story, Eric Cooper has written a book. Ryan Dempster's my favorite pitcher, so we'll see what happens here today.
Apparently, MLB wasn't aware of that.
Of course, I'm kidding.
If I were to write a book about a pitcher, I might title it that. A full count on Kosuke. The pitch. Ball 4.
Hey, Len, we want to send birthday wishes to a good buddy of ours, Tim Dillman, across the street at Bernie's. Turning 30 today, Tim. It's all downhill now, buddy.
Happy birthday, Tim. On a sad note, we want to send our sympathies along to the family of Richard Taccini, lifelong Cub fan who recently passed away. He was a huge fan of Ryan Dempster. We send out our condolences to his family. 2 on with 2 down. Here's Starlin Castro, lined to center in his first at bat. Of course, we just talked about him not swinging and missing, and he just missed one.
If it was only that easy, all we'd have to say is Starlin Castro has yet to hit a 3-run homer this year, and he would step up there and hit one.
Well, he has yet to hit a 3-run homer. Another slider for a strike. 0-2 on Castro. Not too many people on the planet prouder of what Starlin Castro has accomplished than that guy, who worked very closely with the Cubs shortstop last year. Alan Trammell, who's now the bench coach with the Diamondbacks. Starlin went over and thanked Alan personally at the start of this series. And if you are a shortstop and you get a chance to work with that guy, you'll be a lot better for it.
Absolutely. And we know, Len, because we were here at the ballpark early, also on the road when they got a lot of their extra work in, and it was pretty much a daily routine for Alan Trammell and Starlin Castro. Occasionally they'd bring a second baseman out with him to work on double play pivots, worked on positioning and footwork and balance, getting his arm in a good throwing slot. There was something to work on every day.
Long look by Galarraga. Now he's ready. And the 0-2. Now 1-2. One thing I do remember very vividly last year, Alan Trammell and Ivan De Jesus in particular, you know, there would be times where there would be a long list of things, but you can't do it all at once. But Starlin has worked extremely hard at all facets of his defense. 2-2. And I've heard some people, you know, on the radio talk show saying that they think that Castro ultimately will be a second baseman. I disagree. He's got the arm to play short. He's got the range. He's got a nose for the baseball. It's good jumps. I mean, we'll never know until maybe a year or two down the road. But I think shortstop's his spot.
For a long time.
That's my opinion.
And if and when the time comes that he switches position, I think it's more likely that he'll move over to third base.
Swing and a miss, so he strikes out. And that ends the inning. Cubs lead 2 and trail by 2. 2-0 Arizona as they will bat in the 4th inning. Upton, Montero, and Mora against Cubs ace Ryan Dempster.
Well, Len, we've been at it for about a week here. The Cub fans here in Chicago getting a chance to see their home team, and starting tomorrow, all the minor league affiliates will be cranking it up. Bill Dance, the manager down in Iowa, along with Von Joshua and Mike Mason, his coaching staff, they open at Round Rock tomorrow. Tennessee, under the leadership of skipper Brian Harper, hitting coach Mariano Duncan, Marty Mason, they'll crank it up at Chattanooga tomorrow. Daytona Cubs at Brevard County under Buddy Bailey, Barbaro Garbe, and Tom Pratt. And down in Peoria, they open at home against Cedar Rapids tomorrow. Casey Kopitsky managing the Chiefs this year. He'd be assisted by Ricardo Medina and former Major League pitcher Jeff Facero. Of course, Boise's going to have to wait a little while. The rookie ball season doesn't start till June 18th, but Mark Johnson, with his first year as a manager, will be assisted by Desi Wilson, the hitting coach, and Dave Rosario. Good luck and a healthy summer to all.
Yep. And probably a couple of pitchers in the organization will be changing plans here the next couple of days and headed to Chicago and/or Milwaukee. Casey Coleman likely to get the start on Sunday for Randy Wells. One of the possibilities, the Cubs could use left-hander James Russell next Tuesday in Houston and then back him up with the bullpen. But those plans have not been finalized just yet.
And as you can imagine, when there's a move made at the major league level and players are called up from AAA Iowa, there's a trickle-down effect all the way through the minor leagues. You've got roster spots that need to be filled.
Montero with a solid single into right.
One of the great challenges of being a minor league manager is you never know from day to day what your roster is going to look like depending on the needs of the major league team. Montero spanks one past DeWitt on into right field. That's why part of Mike Quaddy's daily routine, I'm sure, when he gets to the ballpark as we move forward here in the minor league season start, is to check the minor league report. You need to know your rotation at the AAA level just in case you need to reach down there for somebody. You need to know whose day it is to pitch today, who pitched yesterday, who's pitching tomorrow. If you need to reach down for a relief pitcher, how often has he thrown this week? Is he rested? Can we use him if we bring him up? I mean, it's in the grand scheme of things a relatively small item, but it's something you have to know every day going in just in case you have injuries here at the big league level.
And assuming the Wells and Cashner injuries are in the 3 to 4 week range, that's always subject to change depending on how things go. Fukudome with the catch to retire Mora. Cubs have some off days coming up which will help, so there are basically 3 slots to fill in that 5 spot the next 3 Tuesdays. And again, it could be a combination of relievers here at this level. Not quite sure just yet. I can tell you this, Casey Coleman almost made the roster anyway. It was a tough last-minute cut. So the Cubs feel very good about him coming up and filling in for Randy Wells.
And we talked about the depth, especially at the pitcher position. And that's always going to be a factor.
As we look ahead, you see Thursday's pretty clear to start the season. You have like a favorite sitcom you like to watch? Did you call MLB and say, I'm kind of busy on Thursdays in April, if you wouldn't mind? I know you have pull.
I don't even know what's on Thursday nights.
Well, we won't be for the next 3 weeks. One and one to Juan Miranda. Runner at first, 2 outs, 2-zip Diamondbacks. And a strike, 1 and 2.
Good breaking ball from Deb. Just a little get me over slider. A lot of late movement. Dropped it from the upper part of the strike zone right down into the middle of the zone.
Ryan trying to change his fortunes here at Wrigley Field, where he has normally pitched really well. That helps. Ryan has lost 4 straight here going back to the end of last year. Midway in the 4th, 2-0 Arizona. One of our many fans following us on Twitter, it appears. Cubs batting in the 4th, trailing 2-0. Still looking for their first hit against Armando Galarraga. Marlon Byrd looks at ball 1 outside. To end the game the other day, there were a bunch of birds flying around in center field, and Marlon had to find a baseball. And he did, made the catch, but that's been a big topic of conversation. The seagulls showing up earlier and earlier during games to find sunflower seeds and bits of hot dogs and the like. We are near the lake, so that is going to happen, but they have come a little earlier than usual.
Didn't we used to have a recording of hawks here at Wrigley Field? I think to keep the pigeons and the seagulls moving, they had a recording that they would play over the PA system of a hawk screeching.
Was it Andre Dawson or?
No,
oh.
no.
Okay.
Although a hawk could fly with the best of them. I'm talking about a real hawk. I don't know if it scared the birds, but it scared me.
It's a little distracting.
Well, even I know that owls are nocturnal. They wouldn't just sit out there on a rafter in broad daylight like that. See, the seagulls make fun of that. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, right.
And the Cubs have their first hit. Young can't catch this one.
Finally, they get a ball down in center field. Chris Young has made like a gold glover out there in the early going today, but Marlon Byrd finds grass for the first base hit of the game for the Cubs.
Ramirez to deep left, out near the wall, and it's over the basket. A 2-run homer. He hit it just high enough to tie the game. That's his first of the year.
At times it can be frustrating watching an aggressive hitter like Aramis Ramirez swing at the first pitch every at bat, but nobody cares when you hit it in the seats. First time up, swung at a high fastball and popped it up. This time got a ball down around the knees and golfed it into the basket in left field for a 2-run bomb.
His 290th career home run. Tyler Colvin. Another one deep left center this time. Chris Young with another grab.
Well, I thought that one was going to go too, Len. Tyler Colvin got down and threw that ball. Had a lot of backspin on that drive. About 3/4 of the way up the wall in left field. You can see Galarraga first grabbing his head, then pumping his fist after Chris Young made a nice leaping catch against the vines.
Well, there's not as much padding out there with the green ivy not yet on the vines, but is it a little easier to make that catch just because there's not as much stuff there?
Well, I don't know. Fortunately, I never had to play outfield here at Wrigley, but I don't think it makes any difference for Chris Young where he plays or what kind of wall he has behind him. He is a superior defensive outfielder, as he's proven here in the early going today.
I don't think he's very good. I'm kidding, of course. Upton the catch, 2 down. Take the Cubs wherever you go this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Chicago Cubs game live or on demand on your computer and your favorite devices. Visit Cubs.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. I think from a scouting perspective, you know, watching on TV, you've seen some great catches by Chris Young, but I think really to appreciate how good a day he's had, being at the ballpark is where it's at. We've seen him cover a lot of ground.
Yeah, many times, you know, watching on television, you get to see the tail end of a great play, but when you see the jumps that Chris Young gets and other players that come in here to Wrigley Field, you see the jump they get, the way they accelerate on the ball and then finish by making a great play. Really, you only get to see the final part of it most of the time. I keep coming back to that Reed Johnson catch in Washington. We had the great vantage point up in the press box of watching the jump that he got, where he started when that ball was hit, and where he ended up when he made the play. It was just remarkable.
Soto grounds out. Ramirez with his first home run of the year ties it up. Jim Hendry coming up. It's 2-2. Hey, Chicagoland viewers, how would you like to win 5 $5 footlongs from Subway? Just be the 500th texter to text Subway to 97999. Go to WGNTV.com for complete info and rules. Back to even 2-2. Ryan Dempster here in the 5th inning, and great to have with us in the booth Cubs general manager Jim Hendry. We were waiting for an update this morning on Andrew Cashner, and unfortunately you gave us a couple of them, and fortunately not that serious, but serious enough to put both guys on the disabled list.
Yeah, the bad news is they'll both be out for a while. The good news is they should be back very healthy, not too long from now, and we just got to find our way to grind through it. Obviously Casey Coleman almost made the club, as you mentioned a couple innings ago, and he'll come up and start on Sunday. And Randy and I will meet with the staff this afternoon to see what other moves we'll make before we get to Milwaukee.
So Randy Wells, slight strain in his right forearm, but the elbow not involved, correct?
Yeah, elbow's fine. Obviously he's been pitching very well. He had a great camp and a great first start, and had some discomfort yesterday, so we sent him for an MRI, and he had a pretty good strain in the right forearm, but it wasn't anywhere close to his elbow or ligament.
Andrew Cashner has a mild strain in the back of his right rotator cuff.
Yeah, and obviously you couldn't have got a better start for a first start for the rookie than he threw yesterday. He was terrific. Here's a guy that's a scout's dream, got a great delivery, textbook mechanics, and throws easy gas. And what a shame. We just thought that, it'd be a little discomfort, everything be fine. But, yeah, it's one of those where we'll be real careful with him. He's got such a great future, and not worried about it long term, but he's certainly going to miss, some significant time.
Ground ball is fair into the right field corner. Kosuke is going to pick it up quickly, but that'll be a sliding double for Gerardo Parra.
The odd thing about it, Jim, not to take anything away from the top 3 guys in the rotation, but Randy and Andrew, I don't know how you could throw any better than they did first time out. They were outstanding.
You're right, yeah, we felt great about the 5 of them. We thought Andrew would have some growing pains, but obviously down the road we all think he's going to be a high-end guy. And one of the strengths we have is that we thought we're really 5 deep with really significant starting pitching. And like I said, there's no crying about it. We've got to get through it. But you're exactly right. We felt a plus for us with if you had Wells and Cashner in the 4th and 5th spot, and the way we can close the games out with the last 3 guys, we thought our pitching was in real good shape, better than advertised.
In terms of the process here, if this happens in June or July, the chances are you or Randy would have maybe seen some of the minor league guys, but because it comes so close to spring training, it does give the major league staff a little better handle on what you have in the organization, correct?
Right, absolutely. And obviously with O'Neary being so involved with Randy and I on a daily basis, the communication between Mark Riggins and Dennis Llewellyn, we know exactly where we ended camp at Fitch Park also now with the minor league clubs ready to start tomorrow. So we feel good about it. We've got real good young pitching too, like in AA, that you don't want to rush them along, but they may be capable to add something to the table here too in the first couple months. And like I said, Casey Coleman, let's not include spring training. Go back to last August, September. He did a terrific job last year when he came up, so we got a lot of faith in him. We're just going to find a way to grind it out, stay in the race, and get Cashner and Wells back, in a decent amount of time. And the optimistic way to look at that is they're going to be fresher at the end of the season, possibly, than the guys that throw 190 to 200 innings between now and October 1st.
Yeah, Jim, that's what I was going to ask you. There's never a good time for an injury, especially to your rotation. But if you have to suffer these kinds of injuries, you'd rather get them out of the way early in the season and get those guys back healthy and contributing late in the season.
Right. As bad as we felt last night, the good news was we certainly didn't have a significant injury. They weren't going to have to go see other doctors and look at a possible surgical procedure. And from that case, you hate to start out with this, but as long as they're healthy, for the rest of the way when they get back, we'll be okay.
Galarraga struck out on the bunt attempt, so here's Willie Bloomquist, and he takes a strike. Just for those out there wondering, Zambrano with the cramping, I saw him throwing on the mound today. He's fine, correct?
Yeah, that's no problem.
And Carlos Pena just day-to-day with the thumb and hopefully back in the lineup
on
Friday.
I think I talked to Dr. Adams a few innings ago, and he thought Carlos would be back playing on Friday, and as you know, he's dying to get back, and he's available today if needed.
One strike on Bloomquist. A little broken bat. Here comes a no throw. In fact, Marlon Byrd realizing that Parra was going to score. That Another RBI hit for Bloomquist, who's had a big series, and it's now 3-2 Arizona. It's early, Jim. This is only game 6, but your thoughts in general on how this team has played. Obviously better in this series than the first one.
Yeah, I think we've played hard. Obviously Demp didn't quite finish it off like we usually expect out of Demp the first game, but I think overall the pitching's been good. It's typical April baseball in Chicago. It doesn't matter who you're playing. The games are going to be close. There aren't too many blowout games ever. You usually got to limit the walks the best you can, limit the errors the best you can, and you're going to be in a lot of 1-2-run games. It doesn't matter who you're playing, whether it's Pittsburgh or the Phillies or whoever. You're going to have close games, and you try to be on the good side of most of them, but you're going to have 1- and 2-run games almost every day here, and you've had it in both series so far.
Your manager said, and I asked him what's your main message to his team. He talked about playing defense, and he also said, I want this club to be resilient. And I think it has on this homestand. You want this team to fight, not only on a day-to-day basis within a game, but to try to avoid those long losing streaks. And that's a sign of a good team that stops it after you've lost 1 or 2 in a row.
Absolutely. I think we all went home Sunday afternoon feeling kind of sick to our stomach, and felt like we really let one get away, and then the guys came right back the next day, bounced back, and won the next 2. So I think exactly what Mike said is correct, and I think we've got that kind of character in the clubhouse.
1 on, 1 out, and 1 in as Chris Young takes a strike. And I think that the personality of Mike Quade really helps in that regard. I mean, he comes to the ballpark bouncing around in a good mood every day, and a lot of communication. He's been the same guy every day since day 1 of spring training this year.
Yeah, same guy we saw the last 35, 40 games of last year. Hadn't changed a bit, and came to the ballpark today. We're all kind of, going through the unfortunate news, and Mike just picked it up where you'd want him to and said, hey, I got a lot of faith in Casey Coleman. We'll figure out what we're going to do Tuesday night in Houston, and that's why we had some depth in spring training, and not going to skip a beat. We're going to play the 25 we've got every day and try to stay after it.
0-1 pitch. Chris Young just got a piece.
Seen enough of this guy already today, and it's only the 5th.
Yeah, he's had a big day both ways. We've spent much of our time on this first homestand talking about your 21-year-old shortstop. And he does something every day that almost amazes you. I thought that barehanded play to get Nady in the 9th inning. I didn't even think he was going to make the throw, and he got him.
No, he's got a chance to be a really, really outstanding player. I think we all know that. He's one of those guys, a special offensive player in his defense. He's already made a lot of plays that we haven't seen made here in many years. The range he has, and like you said, the ability to play the game the way he does. And I think he'll just keep getting better and better. Very well grounded young man, very intelligent young man, and pretty much the sky's the limit for him.
I've been very impressed, Jim, with some of the at-bats he's put together early in the season. Maybe a little overly aggressive last year. Certainly understandable for a young player. Has really shown the ability to work some counts and make sure he gets a good pitch to hit.
Chris Young, high and deep, left field as Soriano's back on the warning track. In and out of his glove. Bloomquist is going to come around. Castro will throw to the plate, and he's safe. And on the throw, Young's going to end up at third. There's that guy again, Chris Young. Bloomquist was running with the pitch, which allowed him to score, and it's now 4-2 Arizona.
Not an easy ball to track for Alfonso Soriano. He got all the way back to the wall. It looked like it got right in the end of the webbing, and then when he hit the vines, the ball came loose. Still had a chance at that point, but Willie Bloomquist, as we've documented throughout this 3-game series, runs extremely well, and he was on the move with the pitch. Glenn Sherlock, the third base coach, waved him on home. The throw was going to be late anyway at the plate.
Still waiting on the scoring, probably an RBI double. And there'll be an error. And a strike. Kelly Johnson, an error on Giovanni Soto.
Ooh.
Allowing Chris Young to advance to third.
I agree with Bob. I think that wasn't going to be a bang banger. I think he was going to be safe. Yeah, that's pretty tough error.
The throw arrived just a little behind Bloomquist's slide, and Bloomquist slides way wide and reaches his hand out there. I think that's a bad error right there.
I think the error
for getting the third
was allowing the runner to go to third. Again, the infield in 1-1 to Johnson, and that is up and in. 2 balls and a strike. Jim, we've seen the Diamondbacks be very aggressive on the bases. Giovanni Soto the other day threw out 2 guys. Good to see that coming off right shoulder surgery.
Gio's played very well from the first day of camp, and he's made 2 or 3 plays where he blocked the ball, gathered himself quickly, and still made the throw and got the runner. He's played very, very well, catching extremely well, very focused on his craft, and playing real well.
Bird going back, going to be over his head as Young will easily score. Johnson will have a double, and it's now 5-2. Talking about that resiliency, the Cubs will have to show that here today, as Dempster chatted over with Giovanni Soto.
Kelly Johnson, a real good offensive second baseman, got a pitch out over the plate where he could extend his arms and hooked it back just to the right, a straightaway center. Dempster leaving some pitches out over the plate.
Now 23-year-old Justin Upton, who has grounded out twice. I know you had a chance to talk with Kevin Towers, the new GM of the Diamondbacks. It's been a long time in San Diego. Good to see him back in that GM chair.
Yeah, Kevin's a terrific guy. We've known each other since his days as a cross-checker and scout with the Pirates. Really a good evaluator, good baseball man, and very well-liked guy in the industry.
Upton grounds out. Jim, we appreciate the time and the updates, and hopefully Cashner and Wells are back very soon, but we'll look forward to who comes up, and Casey Coleman probably on Sunday.
Thanks, guys. Good to be with you. Let's come back and win this.
You got it. Thanks, Jim.
Okay, buddy. Thanks.
Two down in the inning, and it's Miguel Montero. 4 hits and an error, as Arizona has scored 3 times. Called strike.
This Diamondbacks team had a miserable season last year. They struck out a whole bunch. Nobody picked them to do much again this season. But what we've seen here in this inning and in the last 3 innings of this game is what they are capable of doing if you don't execute your pitches properly. They have a very aggressive running and swinging team, and if your pitcher's hitting his spots and changing speeds, you can work your way through this lineup relatively easy. If you miss your spots, they will punish you.
Former Cubs skipper Don Baylor is their hitting coach. A pop-up. They'll get back to the seats behind the Cub dugout.
This quote I've attributed to Don Baylor because I'm pretty sure he said it, but it may have been attributed to other managers. A writer asked him one time about one of his players who had just signed a big contract and went out and bought a fleet of Bentleys and 2 new houses and a boat and a membership at a golf club, and Don Baylor says, hey, that money doesn't come with instructions.
That's a good one. One and 2 with 2 outs. Cubs tied it up on a 2-run homer by Ramirez. Arizona has retaken the lead.
Speaking of the Diamondbacks coaching staff, Eric Young, the first base coach for the Diamondbacks, 465 career stolen bases. And we were talking to Gracie the other day off the air, and of course there's a lot of good-natured banter that goes on among teams. Gracie said if EY was an inch shorter, he'd be a circle. Now, I didn't say that, EY. That's from Gracie, your boy next door.
Trying to get him in trouble, aren't you?
I don't need to help Gracie get in trouble.
Yeah, Eric, one of my favorite guys.
Oh, yeah, he's the best.
And I guarantee you that he loves the philosophy of Kirk Gibson to be very aggressive on the bases, because that's what he was as a player. Starlin Castro gets Montero. Big inning for the Diamondbacks. They get 3 runs and now lead 5-2. Yeah. 5-2 Diamondbacks here in the 5th. The 6th annual Cubs Charities Race to Wrigley 5K on Saturday, April 16th. Starts at Clark and Addison, continues through the Wrigleyville neighborhood, and finishes with a run down the Wrigley Field concourse and under the famous marquee. Each participant gets a performance management race t-shirt. Personal fundraising proceeds benefit Children's Memorial Hospital. To register, visit Cubs.com/race. Cubs have their work cut out for them, trailing by 3 here in the 5th inning. Blake DeWitt lines out to Kelly Johnson. We will be showing Stacey King's first pitch a little bit later for his partner Neil Funk. Now, I didn't see it, so I will be seeing it for the first time. I was hosting the leadoff man, but Stacey was very excited about this whole experience here today, and was apparently rather confident about not only the first pitch but his singing voice for the stretch.
Oh, really?
So we will see.
Oh, good. We're looking forward to it.
I guess Bill Wennington and Neil have both already called our WGN production truck, demanding to see Stacey's first pitch. Dempster hits it foul out of play.
Well, it might have been a really good one. I saw the radar gun down behind home plate. They were recalibrating after the ceremonial first pitch. He may have broken the radar gun.
Bounding ball to Bloomquist, 2 away. Now our Lincoln Mercury upcoming Cubs schedule. They'll start a 10-day, 9-game road trip in Milwaukee on Friday night. The Brewers finally won their first game last night. We will have game 3 on Sunday. Pre-game at 12:30. First pitch a little after 1. Casey Coleman and Giovanni Gallardo, the scheduled starters. Gallardo with a 2-hit complete game shutout against the Braves last night, and he scored the only run for Milwaukee.
Yeah, I had a chance to see a few innings of that ball game last night, and Gallardo looks like he's got a leg up on the National League Cy Young Award, at least from his first start of the season. He was tremendous.
So that was our Cubs upcoming schedule, brought to you by Lincoln Mercury. Will you be ready to roll out the barrel this weekend?
Absolutely.
Fukudome, base hit.
Brotz.
Well, that's a good one.
Coste with three real good at bats in this ball game. You may recall, leading off the bottom of the first, Chris Young made that diving catch in the gap in right center to rob him of extra bases, and he worked a walk off of Galarraga in the third, and now a clean single into right field.
As Castro gets ready, happy 53rd birthday to lifelong Cub fan Robert Qualls. Attended his first game in April of 1969.
Well, and if the first two games of this series are any indication, Len, look for the game to slow down. Even with 2 outs in the inning, the Diamondbacks are going to pay a lot of attention to Kosuke Fukudome over at first base. And as you mentioned, they haven't even stolen the base yet this year.
One and one. It's early, but not a huge surprise that Cubs have not been very aggressive. They are 0 for 1. Darwin Barney was caught stealing earlier on this homestand.
To be quite honest with you, Len, I didn't expect the Cubs to steal a lot of bases this year. They just don't have a lot of base stealing speed. Now, that being said, we've seen some really good base running in the early part of the season, especially by the guy at the plate, Starlin Castro. Kosuke, possibly the most solid fundamental base runner on the team. Marlon Byrd. We've seen a lot of guys run the bases aggressively and intelligently.
Upton drifting and catching, and that's it. Shutdown inning for Galarraga. 5-2 Diamondbacks. 5-2 Arizona. The Diamondbacks trying to avoid a sweep and an 8-game losing streak against the Cubs. Mora Miranda Parra to face Ryan Dempster here in the 6th. Pirates leading St. Louis 2-0. They're in the bottom of the 7th. Kevin Correa 6 1/3 shutout innings at this point. Chris Carpenter went 6 for the Cardinals as they now have gone into their bullpen. That'd be quite a first road trip for the Pirates, wouldn't it? If they hold on today, they would be 4-2 as they head home. Apparently he delivers beer.
Yeah, by the keg.
Fly ball to right. This is Kosuke. Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. Two Dodgers Rockies in the 3rd at Colorado. Ubaldo Jimenez going to the DL. Has a cracked cuticle on his right thumb. 2 down.
The 2011 Chicago Cubs baseball season on WGN is brought to you by Bud Light. The sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
So Mora with a fly out to right. Miranda with a ground out to second. And here's Parra, who's 2 for 2 with a double and a run. Make it 3 for 3. I think you said it yesterday. He's batting 8th, but might not be there for long.
Parra's a pretty good offensive player. Got surprising power for a little guy. He's kind of hidden down in that 8th spot right now. I think unfortunately Ryan Dempster has just not been able to expand the strike zone. Normally you talk about expanding the strike zone when you're ahead of an opposing hitter. But Parra is such an aggressive swinger, especially when he finds himself in that 8th spot in the lineup. I think you can expand the strike zone from the very first pitch against him.
About the Kansas City Royals, another last-at-bat win in extras last night to beat the White Sox 7-6 in 12 innings. They have a 5-0 lead after 6 today. The Royals with 4 consecutive wins in their final at-bat. Might not need their final at-bat this afternoon. Dempster with a scoreless 6. The Cubs coming up trailing by 3.
And guests every game. Join celebrities, Cubs, legends, and Chicago's top executives with season tickets in the PNC Club of Chicago. Your membership includes high-end catering, a top-shelf bar, and VIP parking. Climate-controlled seating guarantees your comfort any time of year. For more information, contact the Premier Sales Team at 773-404-4200 or visit www.cubs.com/suites.
How many W's?
www.
3 of them.
Click, 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 click.
Season debut and the Diamondbacks debut for Armando Galarraga, and he has a 5-2 lead. Cubs runs coming on a 2-run homer by Aramis Ramirez after Marlon Byrd led off the 4th with a single. Ramirez hit one into the bleachers and left, so Byrd will lead off the 6th and a foul strike. Seattle and Texas 3-3 in the 7th. The Rangers off to a 5-0 start. And they've won 5 in a row, in case you're wondering.
And they're undefeated.
Felix Hernandez and C.J. Wilson, battle of aces in that one. Rangers did not hit a home run last night, but they still won 3-2. They're in the 9th in St. Pete, and the Rays trailing 5-1 to the Angels. Tampa Bay 0-4. Now we'll look at our BMW Ultimate Drive. Aramis Ramirez with his first homer of the season.
Cubs would like to have a few more wins at this point of the homestand, but you have to be encouraged by the offensive start by Aramis Ramirez. Certainly Starlin Castro, Tyler Colvin, Alfonso Soriano swinging a hot bat in the early going. Especially in the case of Ramirez and Soriano, two guys that are notoriously slow starters. For them to be swinging the bats as well as they have been early in the season, that is a great sign.
It's brought to you by your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana BMW dealers. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. It's a 6-3 ground out to Bloomquist. Tyler Colvin. Twins with a comeback win last night. 5-4 the final in 10 innings in New York. A place that has not been very kind to them over the years. They're 7-31 at one of the Yankee stadiums, or both of them I should say, since Ron Gardenhire took over as a Twins manager. Carl Pavano against Freddie Garcia tonight. Off of third, this is Melvin Mora. Plenty of room, and that's the inning. Cubs go down quickly, 1-2-3. Off to the 7th, 5-2 for the visitors.
Anything, I just wanna lay in my bed. Don't feel like picking up my phone, so leave a message at the tone. 'Cause today I swear I'm not doing anything. I'm gonna kick my feet up, then stare at the fan, turn the TV on, throw my hand in my pants. Nobody's gonna tell me I can't. Nah, I'll be lounging on win anything.
Cam.
I just wanna lay in my bed. Don't feel like picking up my phone, so leave a message at the tone. 'Cause today I swear I'm not doing anything. I'm gonna kick my feet up, then stare at the fan. Turn the TV on, throw my hand in my pants. Nobody's gonna tell me I can't. No, I'll be lounging on the couch, just chilling in my snuggie.
That's Bruno Mars with the theme song for our producer Mark Brady, the Lazy Song. That's our Bud fan cam. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds.
2-0 on Willie Bloomquist. 2 singles, an RBI, a stolen base, 2 runs. And fouled back out of play. The other thing looking ahead, Bob, regarding the Cashner and Wells to the DL situation, it not only affects the 4 and 5 spots, but it potentially affects the bullpen. If James Russell has to make a start or two, it also affects the rest of the rotation in this regard. We showed you earlier the schedule of off days coming up, and based on what Mark Riggins and Mike Quade wanted to do, they were not going to skip anybody, which meant that Ryan Dempster, for instance, would get another day before his next start. Ukudome makes the catch and the out. Well, now you can pitch guys on normal rest, but you know, it's that extra day that you'd like to have now to maybe help out your starters later. So, you know, hopefully these are not long-term serious injuries, but it will have an effect on the entire staff.
And no question that Mike Quade and Mark Riggins will be leaning heavier on those top 3 guys at the top of the rotation than they might have normally, with Randy Wells and Andrew Cashner filling the 4 and 5 hole. So yeah, you're right. It has a far-reaching effect.
I mean, Dempster, with everybody healthy, would have come back and pitched Tuesday, but probably now will pitch Monday, which again will be normal rest, but he won't have that extra day. Now he doesn't mind. He'll tell you, I'll take the ball every 5th day without the extra off day, but generally managers and pitching coaches early in the season like to build it in. And I think the other thing about it that gave the Cubs this luxury of not skipping people is because Wells and Cashner have been so good. Why would you want to skip them? Ground ball kicks off the mound and right toward Blake DeWitt. Hey fans, next time you want to catch a Cubs game, head to StubHub, where you'll find the seats you want and the freedom to choose where you want to sit. StubHub is the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Chicago Cubs. For more info, visit Cubs.com/StubHub. Kelly Johnson rolls it foul. Stacey King getting set for the stretch. And 2 outs here in the 7th. I have to admit, Stacey looked a little more confident in the hallway than he does right now. It's a little intimidating up here, but I think he'll do just fine.
Especially when we both stand up and point at him as soon as the 3rd out is made.
Marlon Byrd in center, and Stacey King takes center stage.
Today's guest conductor for Take Me Out to the Ball Game, former Bulls player and current TV analyst Stacey King.
All right, Cubs and Bulls fans, let me hear you sing the 7th inning stretch. Are we ready? A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the
Underway here in the bottom of the 7th, 5-2 Arizona, a 2-0 count on Alfonso Soriano, and Stacey King is living proof. These guys are all tough guys. In the days before, singing the stretch. He was feeling good 15 seconds before he walked into the booth, and then the look on his face, sheer terror.
You know what, Lynn? I think you're over-exaggerating a little bit. Okay?
You did a nice job. You did a nice job.
I was intimidated, though. All seriousness, I was intimidated. It doesn't seem that bad until you get up here.
Alfonso Soriano has liftoff. That one's going to get out of here.
Way to go. Wait, he's on my fantasy team. Yes. That's what I'm talking about, Soriano. Too big, too strong, too fast, too good. That's what I'm talking about. Woo! Fantasy points.
5-3.
You have anybody else on the team, Stacey?
I got Dempster.
All right.
I got Dempster. I tried to get the Cubs. I just traded Ramirez. I had to pick up a closer. I love fantasy baseball.
Now, you're a big baseball fan.
Yes.
It's a great time of the year. It's Soriano hitting that home run on a pitch right down the middle.
Boy, we were just talking about Soriano getting off to a fast start this year, something he doesn't normally do. And what does he do? Come up to the plate and touch one off.
0-1 pitch to Soto. Popped up, and this one will get out of play. Our HD shot of the game brought to you by Xfinity. Neil Funk keeps calling the truck. When are you going to show me the pitch?
Watch this heat. Low and outside, baby. They couldn't hit it. Look at that form. Ooh. Oh, it was a curveball. Did you see it?
I did.
But see, Neil Funk is my partner. Okay, he bet me that I wouldn't be able to get it over the plate. I said, Neil, you would have to throw an underhand pitch to get over there. Why are you trying to be a hater?
Nicely done. Cubs baseball brought to you by Xfinity, only from Comcast. 1 out in the inning. It's Blake DeWitt at the plate. I was saying what a great time of the year this is with baseball getting going. The NCAA tournament just finished. The Bulls getting ready for the playoffs. Blackhawks hope to make it. Where else would you rather be than Chicago right now?
Well, this is the best sports city in America. I mean, you know, you just from top to bottom. I mean, this is the best place to have a sports team. And you know, when all the teams are doing good, I mean, you can go to a basketball game, baseball game. It's just a great atmosphere. The fans are just great. And the Bulls are playing well. And, you know, with the way they're playing right now, they've got a chance to get to the championship and possibly win a championship.
Johnson, and it's going to be the first baseman, Miranda. Taller guy made the catch. Kind of like in basketball, the taller guy normally gets the rebound.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about Derrick Rose.
Special. Should be the MVP. He's had a super season. His game has exploded. And when you look at him, and when I talk about superstars, you know, we're blessed to be able to have Michael Jordan here and all the things and wonderful things that he's done. But how often are you able to get a second one to come right after him? You know, and to be able, especially a kid who was born and raised here in Chicago. He's here now. He's Chicago's own. And you're watching him grow up from when he was a little kid to where he is now. It's a special thing.
Darwin Barney hitting for Ryan Dempster. And I'll have to say that speaking of special things, you and Neil have something very special going, and you know this, having been here so long, that people just want you to be yourself, and you're yourself every day.
Yeah, you know what? The game is fun, and you guys can attest to this. You guys enjoy it. You know, you got to have fun doing your job. You come to the ballpark every day, and it's about expressing yourself and being fun.
Well, we enjoy the broadcast, and it's a lot more fun when you're winning, that's for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Thanks, Stacey.
Thanks, guys.
Good job.
Alfonso Soriano has hit 3 home runs on this homestand. It's the Cubs within 2 as we get into the 8th. Left-hander John Graybo to Justin Upton, who hammers it foul. I'm a big fan of Stacey King.
Oh, absolutely.
He and Neil are so much fun to listen to and to watch.
I was going to ask Stacey what song that was he was singing, but he's a lot bigger than me.
His own version of Take Me Out to the Ball Game. 1, 2, 3 for the Cubbies. I like it. Swing and a miss on a changeup. Time now for our Honda game summary. Visit your local Honda dealer today to test drive the 2011 Honda Cross Tour, available with 4-wheel drive. Chris Young has done it all. Offensively and defensively, the Cubs with a couple of home runs, but still trailing by 2. Got the line on Ryan Dempster as Montero. It's a fly ball to deep left, and it will get out. So they get that run right back as Miguel Montero goes oppo for his 2nd homer of the season, and it's 6-3.
Well, the wind is blowing straight in, probably harder than it has been all afternoon, but it didn't seem to bother that drive off the bat of Miguel Montero. Fastball up and out over the plate. He stays right on it. Gets it a couple rows up into the bleachers into left field.
First career homer for Montero at Wrigley Field. Melvin Mora, that's a fair ball, and Ramirez will gun him down. Dempster today, 7 innings, 10 hits, 5 runs, 4 were earned. He didn't walk anybody, struck out 6. And right now would be on the hook for his 2nd loss in as many starts. Slider in there against Miranda for strike 1. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back breaking balls from John Graybo.
Well, that's a pitch John Graybo is going to need this summer to be an effective left-hander out of Mike Quaddy's bullpen. Last season he was much more effective, at least in my eyes, against right-handers, because he has such a good straight changeup and some good sliders there to Miranda for strikeouts.
Montero with a home run negates the Soriano blast, and it's now 6-3 Arizona.
The 2011 Chicago Cubs baseball season on WGN is brought to you by Bud Light. The sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
Galarraga going into the 8th. Base hit, Kosuke.
I mentioned it during his last at bat in the 5th. Kosuke has had a good day at the plate today. His second base hit also drew a walk, lined out to center field, and a good start to the inning here if the Cubs are going to get back into this one. We'll talk about a short leash.
It'll be 7+ for Galarraga here today. Juan Gutierrez coming in. We're in the 8th, 6-3 Arizona. Right-hander facing Starlin Castro. Second appearance in as many days for Gutierrez. 2/3 of an inning yesterday. And retired both batters he faced. Two and 0. Fukudome at first. Nobody out. Cubs trailing 6-3. Gutierrez with previous closing experience, and when he's done it, he's been very good. 24 out of 28. Their closer is J.J. Putz. Two-one. Castro fouls off. 2-2. Cub fans, make sure you check out our WGN baseball blog on WGNTV.com. I have a post on the guy at the plate, Starlin Castro. The list of 7th inning stretch singers, game notes from stats, our updated podcast. Always have good photos and much more at WGNTV.com. Ground ball, diving stop. Mora from his knees gets one, and that is it. Diamondbacks have played stellar defense today in support of both of their pitchers.
Now this really turns into two good plays. One by Moore to get to that ball and then to quickly throw from his knees and at least give Kelly Johnson an opportunity to turn the double play, but Castro with too much speed able to beat it out.
Right down the middle, good heat at 94. Up the middle, base hit. Castro stops at second. Comes a tying run to the plate. 5 hits over the last 2 games for Marlon Byrd.
After that 94-mile-an-hour heater, Gutierrez comes back with an 82-mile-an-hour breaking ball in the middle of the plate. Marlon Byrd did a nice job of wading back, didn't commit his weight forward onto his front foot, able to drive it back up the box for a base hit. Boy, the next 3 hitters for the Cubs have all been swinging the bat well today. Aramis Ramirez with a home run back in the 4th inning to drive home 2. Tyler Colvin has hit some balls right on the button in this game today, and Alfonso Soriano with a solo homer of his own in the 7th.
Slider missed. Kick in the 1-0 inside. 2 balls, no strikes. Ramirez with that home run earlier, now just 10 away from a milestone. 290 in his career. 3-0. It was also his 111th career homer in this ballpark. Aaron Heilman jumping onto the bullpen mound. The 3-0 pitch is a strike. 3-1.
Looked like Ramirez taking all the way on the 3-0 pitch. Probably wouldn't have offered it that one anyway. Pretty good pitch or strike right there.
3-1 slider dropped in nicely. 3-2.
We talk about 2-0 and 3-1 being good hitters counts. Most guys gear up for that fastball, and that's exactly what Aramis Ramirez was doing. Looking for a fastball he could pull out of here, and Gutierrez dropped the slider right in there for a strike.
And he held off that slider, and that'll load the bases.
I think that home run earlier in the ball game may have scared the Diamondbacks off of the fastball against Aramis Ramirez. The only one he got that was hittable was the 3-0 pitch, and even that was a good pitch or strike. All breaking balls after that.
Pitching coach Charles Nagy out on the mound before this at bat. Tyler Colvin walked with the bases loaded yesterday, and that was against a lefty. Heilman cranking it up. So a chance here for the Cubs. Bases loaded, only 1 out, trailing by 3. Here's a pitch, ground ball, bobbled, and they'll only get 1. So Colvin will get an RBI on the ground out. It's now 6-4. That'll bring up Soriano.
Ball into and out of the glove of Miranda at first. Nice job by Gutierrez to go ahead and get over there and cover the bag. I'm sure Tyler would have liked to do more damage in that situation, but cuts the lead a little bit closer.
Strike 1. Gutierrez fanned Soriano with the bases loaded in the 7th yesterday. Call strike 2. See a couple of breakers, both for strikes. He didn't like that one. Let's see what pitch track says.
Alfonso saying, I can understand you giving him the one on the outside corner, but that ball appeared to come around the plate, maybe never got to the inside corner.
0-2 is high. A predictable high fastball. Matt Garza into it as always. And Soto on deck. A run in. The tying run is in scoring position. 1-2. He struck him out. They do get 1. That's it. To the 9th, 6-4. Get into the 9th. On a cold and blustery day here at Wrigley Field. John Grabo against Gerardo Parra. Ball 1.
A nice job by Gutierrez doubling up on that high fastball. Soriano able to lay off the 0-2 pitch that was up high out of the strike zone. That one at the very top of the zone. Couldn't catch up.
That one booted by Blake DeWitt. Pretty routine play, and that's the 3rd error of the day for the Cubs.
About as routine as it gets for Hopper. Just a little bit to Blake DeWitt's left, leading him into his short toss to first base, but ball hit off the heel of the glove.
Got through the wickets for a leadoff air.
Former Cub Xavier Nady. He's batting for Gutierrez, and he takes ball one. Three career pinch hit home runs. Knocked in a run yesterday on that ground out. A terrific defensive play by Starlin Castro in the ninth. And a bloop base hit to center. Bird comes up and just tosses it back to DeWitt as Parra makes third. Well, that's textbook base running. Parra, right off the bat, was thinking third base, and that slowly hit blooper to the outfield.
Yeah, he heard the bat break as well as we did. Knew that ball was not going to carry all the way in the air to Marlon Byrd in center field, so he was off like a shot, turned the corner at second base, and easily advanced on to third.
Right-hander Marcos Mateo has been summoned by Mike Quaddy. He's going to come into first and third, no out situation here in the ninth with the Cubs trailing by 2. Baseball will be from Milwaukee on Sunday. Final game of a 3-game series. Pre-game time 12:30. Make sure you join us for that. And then the first pitch a little after 1 o'clock.
Marcos Mateo picking up John Graybo here today. Occasionally has trouble finding that strike zone. There is no question this guy has major league stuff out of the bullpen. An overpowering at times fastball, good, hard, sharp, late breaking slider. Occasionally his mechanics get a little out of whack out there on the mound. Hopefully that won't be the case today.
Struggled yesterday, faced 2 batters, walked one, gave up an RBI single to the other. As he faces Willie Bloomquist, the infield is in. Cubs don't want to give up any more runs. First and third, nobody out. Fouled back, strike one. Kick in the pitch, fastball high. Pirates beat the Cardinals 3-1, so they took 2 of 3 in that series and completed a 4-2 road trip.
Mateo trying to get that swing on a slider low and on the outside part of the plate, hoping to get a ground ball at one of his infielders. Willie Bloomquist has been seeing the ball extremely well in this series, to say the least.
Down the right field line and twisting out of play. Cardinals now 2-4. Kevin Correa is 2-0. After 2 starts, beat the Cubs, beat the Cardinals. J.J. Putz getting ready for the bottom of the ninth. Full count, 3-2. There's that guy again, Chris Young. He's had a huge afternoon. Three-two on the way. Nady running from first, and a fly ball to right. Fukudome makes a catch. He's going to throw to the plate and keeps the runners right where they are.
Nice catch by Kosuke. He was not distracted by Xavier Nady, who was running on the pitch and making his way back to first base. It had to be a little tempting to try to throw behind Nady and possibly get a double play, but the guy you're worried about right now is the guy at third base. So he threw it all the way into Giovanni Soto at home plate, held the runner at third.
Young pops up the bunt attempt. First thing he's done wrong all day. And fouls out to Soto. That was not a suicide squeeze. Parra was not racing down the third base line. Makes you wonder if Young just kind of did that on his own.
I'm sure he did, and with the infield playing in, it really becomes more puzzling. Boy, what a shock. What a break for the Cubs. There's an old saying in this game: don't think, you're killing the ball club. I think Chris Young maybe overthought that one just a little bit, especially the way he's been swinging the bat today.
So Mateo trying to get out of this thing, but it's 2-0 on Johnson. Popped up, Castro out, Soriano in. It'll be the left fielder to take it. What a job by Mateo. He gets out of it with no damage done. The Diamondbacks lead 2. It's still 6-4. Cub fans bundled up on this chilly Wednesday afternoon and hoping their team can come back here in the final inning, trailing by 2. Arizona's new closer, J.J. Putz, got a save on opening day in Colorado as he faces Giovanni Soto. Starts him with a breaking ball for a strike.
Now, Putz didn't get much spring training. He only had 2 Cactus League appearances. Suffered a stiff back on March 18th. Only pitched an inning and a third in spring training. Gave up 4 earned runs and walked 3 batters.
He was with the White Sox last year. Even though he's pitching for a hot weather team, he's from the Midwest, from Trenton, Michigan. Fly ball to center. Young actually went back now in a few steps.
Certainly White Sox fans are familiar with J.J. Putz, but for the Cub fans that maybe haven't seen much of him, he's a fastball slider split finger pitcher. Fastball will usually sit in the low to mid 90s.
Spent a long time with the Seattle Mariners. Got a 40 save season in 07 and a 1.38 ERA. Kick and the 1-0 to DeWitt is a fastball for a strike.
Appears to be in the strike zone. A little bit of a late call that time by Eric Cooper, but appeared he got it right.
Another chance for Chris Young. And Jeff Baker will pinch hit for Mateo, representing the last chance for the Cubs here in the 9th. The one thing that has happened almost every day on this homestand, it's gotten colder as the afternoon has gone along. Today, no exception. Deep breath by the big right-hander. Bob, when you played, a guy came in at 6'5", 250. He'd been one of the biggest guys in baseball, right?
Oh, yeah.
6'5", 250s. There are a lot of relievers as big as J.J. Putz these days. They've got a guy on their staff who's 6'9". Cam Micolayo.
And also back in my day, it wasn't unusual for a pitching staff to have 2, maybe 3 guys that would crack the 90-mile-per-hour mark, and that was impressive. Wow, he throws 90. Geez, if you don't throw 90 now, they don't even bring you to camp.
Fukudome on deck.
Keep the line moving. Get a base runner on there.
1-2 on Jeff Baker. Here it is. Swing and the miss. And the Diamondbacks salvage the finale of this series. Putz goes 1-2-3 in the 9th. The final today, Arizona 6 and the Cubs 4. We'll have more from Wrigley Field after this.